Who's the shithouse now? Useless Dawson. Boom, boom. Where are you, coward? White feathers. Dillian Whyte is getting knocked up.
On the road to Wembley Stadium, April the 23rd against Dillian Whyte in London, Tyson Fury has employed a relatively experienced set of sparring partners to prepare him. So we'll start first with David Adelaide, who's the least experienced of the bunch. He's a rising prospect out of the United Kingdom, a stablemate of Tyson Fury under Frank Warren. He is also featuring on the undercard on the 23rd. So he is facing, in a showcase fight, Chris Healy, a journeyman. So he'll get through that comfortably enough. But for Tyson Fury, these will be good, solid rounds. Nothing spectacular, I wouldn't imagine. David Adelaide is still learning, developing. He's got a lot of raw ingredients. He's big, he's strong, he's tough, but he's still bringing up the skills and his ring IQ. So I think this is more of a situation, Adelaide probably getting more out of it than Tyson Fury, but for Fury, tough, solid rounds. The next guy in the Tyson Fury training camp, Martin Bakole. So he's been in camp for a number of weeks. He's preparing for his own fight in May against Tony Yoka. That is a very big fight for him, his career, the next step. So these rounds with Fury are gold. And for Fury, in Martin Bakole, he's got a guy who is tough, he's durable, he's got a very good jab, very good straight punches, and he has obviously sparred a number of rounds with Tyson Fury in the past. And notably, he was a guy that was sparring in gyms for a number of years before he really rose to prominence. So he trains with Billy Nelson, largely out of Scotland, but obviously he's been brought in for a number of weeks here against Tyson Fury to give him some rounds. So very beneficial for both. Joseph Parker, the former WBO champion, is in Tyson Fury's training camp from day dot. He's a guy who was actually working with Fury before Christmas, after Christmas, even before camp begun. And that's courtesy of Joseph Parker basing himself in the United Kingdom for now. He's off contract at the moment, wanting to get back in a fight in the first half of 2022. And him and Fury are good buddies, have been for a number of years. So this is a sort of right place, right time. And also for Joseph Parker, he's trying to bed in a new, more aggressive style with his trainer Andy Lee, who is Tyson Fury's cousin. So for him, he's getting good rounds with Tyson Fury, and for Fury, he gets a former champion who's notoriously durable, has decent fundamentals, and maybe more importantly, out of the guys that he's sparring against is more the dimensions of Dillian Whyte. Obviously, they fight very different, and that's one of the things with the first three fighters that have gone through. They don't really fight like Dillian Whyte. There's some aspects of their game which they can replicate, but all of these guys aren't necessarily that effective on the inside. Whereas Dillian Whyte can actually be very effective on the inside, banging hooks to the body and head, trying to rough his opponents up. He can be quite physical in his fights. So with Jared Anderson, the rising American prospect, not coming over to spar with Tyson Fury due to injury, he was going to be on the undercard, they've brought in Jarrell Miller. And this is the most recent addition to the training camp, and really it is a replacement for Jared Anderson. But Miller, he is a pressure fighter. We know at the moment he's currently on a drug ban, so he didn't have too much going on. He can't come back to action until mid-2022. He's only banned in the United States, but unlikely that promoters are wanting to take a chance on him because of his recent indiscretions from the past couple of years. Not for the first time that he's used performance-enhancing substances. In Miller, he's a guy who is durable, he comes forward, he likes to let his hands go, he likes to whip in a lot of shots, a lot of volume, he does like to rough up his opponents as well. So this is kind of not exactly like for like, but there are bits and elements that all of these guys bring to the table that is very good work for Tyson Fury. Not a one-to-one comparison, obviously, with Dillian Whyte, but it's rare you can just bring in a guy and go, that guy fights exactly like him. So overall, decent sparring for Tyson Fury, and he obviously heads into this fight as a favorite, and off the back of this work that he's getting, he should be well prepared.